Hey guys, what's up? It's Retro Mikey78 here, and today I want you guys to tune in to watch the Taint-tacular Chris Pico, the old ass retro gamer. Hashtag Taint-tacular.
Hey everybody, Chris the old ass retro gamer here. Welcome back to another Recent Pick-Ups Livestream. This is number 72. Jeez, I've done this 72 times. Yikes. So this is everything that I have added to my collection during December 2022, last month of the year. So was I going to make this one count? I think so. Because something quite large is lurking just out of view. What's up, Yakub? How's it going? afternoon. It is 8:30 p.m. here. Where are you at? So this is a pretty good month. First weekend of December, I went up to Wisconsin to visit Rocket Sauce from the Cartridge Club because for the second year in a row, he invited me to participate in the Cartridge Club Extra Life charity stream that they stream on Twitch every single year. It's to raise funds for Child's Hospital in Canada, and decided to make a weekend out of it. I drove up there on Saturday, and we went game hunting throughout Wisconsin again. I didn't think we were going to go to as many places as we did, but things happened. I spent way too much money. But, that's what happens when, you have somebody with a loose wallet going around to game stores, just grabbing everything he sees. Melbourne, hot damn. That's awesome, though. Thank you for coming. Went shopping, went game hunting throughout Wisconsin. I think we went to 3 or 4 different stores, found stuff at every single store we went to. Because it's me. And then spent the night at his place, and the next morning we streamed on Twitch for the charity stream, and it was great. Also had some stuff still showing up from Black Friday from November that hadn't shown up during November. And also got some pre and post holiday sales from the webs. And a lot of it, 2 of them just showed up today. Like I went outside maybe 25 minutes ago to pick one of them up off my porch. So yeah, it's been a pretty decent month. A lot of movies, but definitely this one is very game heavy. It's usually the other way around. Last month especially, it was like 80% movies and 20% games. This time it's like 20% games, 80%, or 20% movies and 80% games. So let's get into it. And we'll start off with the non-video game or movie related, but still gaming related item that I picked up. So like I keep on saying, running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign now with a bunch of friends and 2 YouTubers, Game Grinder and Mundane Designs, are taking part in it. And one of the things I've always had problems with is when we're doing this over the internet, because nobody is actually at my place except for me when we're doing this. We're streaming it all over the web. We're doing it on StreamYard. That doing combat is not great because I don't want to mess around with Roll20 and all those other websites, which makes like digital battlefields and all that, because it's just way too much hassle. I have a a dry erase mat that has like pre-made squares on it, and you just use a dry erase marker and you draw what you want your battlefield to look like on it. When you have people in the room with you, it's great. It works perfectly fine. But when everybody is looking at the battlefield from a strange angle, with a bad webcam and the lights aren't great, it's really hard for anybody to see what's going on. So I decided to upgrade. Plus, my mat kind of got ruined during the last campaign that we finished up over the summer, which was my Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel horror adventure campaign. We had like a month in between sessions, and we stopped one session in the middle of a big fight, and I had drawn this really elaborate battlefield on the mat, and I left it on the mat for a month. I never erased it. Turns out it seeped into the mat and it kind of stained it. So now it's really hard to see things that I have drawn over those sections because I cannot get the stains out. So I decided to upgrade the play field, and I picked up these dungeon tiles that are made specifically for D&D. What it is just a bunch of different shaped tiles with the squares on them, and you just put them together in any order you want to create the battlefield that you're looking for. They have one for the dungeon, they have one for a city, and they have one for like the outdoors. I might go back and get the other 2. These are not that expensive, but it is pretty cool that this exists. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier. Therefore, if I have a battle planned, I can just have this put together already, and we just go right into it instead of having me to stop and like draw something. So it's got like, pieces like this, stairways, curved stairwells, pits and objects and stuff. I just put these together in any order that I want when we have a fight, and it just makes everything so much easier, like I said. So there's that. And that is the only D&D thing. I did buy some tech stuff to help me stream, like a camera rig that lets me actually, instead of filming at a weird angle, like I would have my shitty laptop sitting on the table in front of the mat, and the webcam was aimed at it, but it was always at a weird angle. I bought a rig that lets me hoist a camera above the table looking straight down. So that's going to make that so much easier now, too. So that's it for that. When it comes to the movies, seeing a theme here, I don't buy DVDs anymore unless it's something that is not available anywhere else. It's not available like streaming somewhere. It's not available on Blu-ray or 4K or anything like that. And I've been wanting to watch this for a long time because I used to watch this cartoon on Saturday mornings every weekend when it was on. And that is Dungeons & Dragons, the animated series. This was on for, I think, 3 seasons in the 80s. And then my brother and I didn't play D&D back in the day. Back when this cartoon came out, that was during the time when Dungeons & Dragons was considered like some sort of Satanist recruitment like manual or something like that. It was like you play it because you're evil kind of thing. So it was like the satanic panic thing was going on. But they still made 3 seasons of this regardless. And I've been watching it, and it has a lot of really cool stuff from D&D in it. Like there's the Beholders, and there's that Tiamat dragon, which has like 5 heads, looks like a big ass Hydra. It's really cool. It's also very dated. It's also voiced kind of strange. I was watching it last night, and I don't remember when they changed the character type unless they did it specifically for this cartoon, but a bunch of kids get sucked into Fantasyland. They were like on some Dungeons and Dragons themed ride at a carnival. They got sucked into like some portal that pulled them into this Fantasyland that Dungeons and Dragons rules apply. And each person that got sucked into, 6 kids, gets like a character type, a character archetype. So one becomes a ranger, one becomes a wizard, one becomes a barbarian, one becomes a thief, and then the other 2 are not really. What's up, Denver Gamer? How's it going? The other 2 characters, I don't think are. Maybe they just used it for the cartoon because it would be easier to understand for kids. But one character is an acrobat, and the other character is a cavalier, which I think is just supposed to be a paladin. But I've been watching it last couple of nights while I'm in bed, and it's okay. It doesn't exactly hold up like I remember, but it's not bad. Just kind of funny that 27 episodes constitutes 3 seasons worth, but the seasons got shorter as the show went on. So I think it's like 12 episodes for season 1, and then like 10 for season 2, and then like whatever's left over was season 3, and then it got canceled. But yeah, I'm happy that I finally have this in my collection. It's like part of my childhood right there. But rose-tinted glasses, doesn't really hold up as much as I remember. When it comes to Blu-rays, I only picked up 2 this month. One you're going to laugh at. This one, I talked about the other movie in this series last month when I picked that up. I grabbed a copy of Pearl. This is the prequel to X. X came out earlier this year, and it's a movie that takes place in the 70s about a bunch of like teenage, like early 20-somethings making a porno. And what's up, Mondane? I'm off to get it. Yeah, it's about a bunch of 20-somethings making a porno in the 70s, and the ranch that they've rented out to film the porno is run by this crazy lady named Pearl and her husband, who go on like a murder spree because she hasn't had sex in like 30 years, because if she has sex with her husband, it'll probably kill him because of his heart. So watching these people making the boom boom all the time, drives her crazy, and she goes on like a killing spree. Well, this is the prequel about Pearl when she was younger and why she ended up the way she did. And this is all about Mia Goth. Mia Goth played the main character in X, Maxine, and she also played Pearl in that movie, the old version. They threw all this old age makeup on her. She's unrecognizable. And she also plays the young Pearl in this. And she is a revelation. I absolutely think she should have deserved a nomination for like a Golden Globe for Best Actress or something, because there's like 2 scenes in this movie. There's like this big, long speech that she has at the end, which is one unbroken take. It's a good 6 or 7 minutes of her just talking to the camera, and the camera never looks away. It's just constantly zooming in on her face. where she is just amazing. And then the final shot of the movie is like creepy as hell because of this facial expression she's using. But it's great. It's not really a slasher. X is a slasher. This one is more like a psychological horror film, thriller, I guess. You know, just you're watching a character go crazy, and it's really good. I like this one a lot more than X. So there's that. How's it going? Really liked X. Need to check out Pearl. Pearl, I think, is better. Fan edits horror nostalgia shit. Yeah. I have been wanting to watch that D&D, cartoon for years, and I just keep putting it off. And I was finally like, just buy the damn thing, because there's like 2 or 3 sets available on DVD, and one of them is like just a certain amount of episodes. And I was like, this set has 10 episodes on it, but that's it. And then I got this one, which I think was the harder to find one. I got it off of Amazon. It was a little more expensive, but it has like all 3 seasons. So I was like, that's the way to go. And this is the one you're going to laugh at. You're going to be like, why did you buy that? Because I think it's funny. I went to Best Buy to see what they had, and I found this sitting there, and I was like, when did this come out, and who thought this was a good movie to put out on Blu-ray? I don't think this needs to be on Blu-ray, but I bought it because sure. And it's called Earth Girls Are Easy. So I hate musicals. I absolutely hate them unless there's something going on in it that sets it apart. Like, it could be like a sense of humor. It could be that it's horror themed or science fiction or whatever. Like, the only musicals I can sit through and not want to vomit are Grease, because the sense of humor gets me, and I think it's really funny. And Olivia Newton-John's hot as hell. Repo, the genetic opera, because it's like industrial music for the songs, and it's like goth, and I like that shit. Little Shop of Horrors, because it's horror, I guess, and science fiction. And there's one other one, maybe. I probably own it. I don't remember which one, though. This is one that I would watch when it was on cable all the time. And why did I pick it up? Because this has a freaking great cast for like this low-budget, goofy musical. It's got Gina Davis, hot off getting an Oscar, Jim Carrey before he was anybody, Damon Wayans before he was anybody, Jeff Goldblum, I think had just done The Fly, and Julie Brown, who was like a MTV personality. She was also like a comedian and a writer. She wrote this movie and produced it, I think. So it's like a whole bunch of people that were nobodies at the time, except for maybe Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum. You can see them on the cover. It's about a trio of aliens who crash in Gina Davis's pool. And she's a hairdresser, and she decides to like give them makeovers to make them look human. So she basically shaves them because they're covered head to toe in fur, and like makes them quote unquote hot and stuff. It is really funny. It is stupid as hell, but the songs are actually kind of catchy, and the sense of humor is like beyond perverted, which is why I liked it. I always felt like I was getting away with something watching this back in the day, because my parents were kind of against sex humor and stuff like that back in the day, but they'd let me watch Commando and Terminator, but so whatever. So when I saw this sitting there, it was like dirt cheap. It was like $9 and it had just come out. Like, it was already discounted. I don't think anybody was going to buy it. And I was like, why not? I used to watch this all the time because it was just on cable every other day. So I grabbed it. I don't know when I'll actually sit down to watch it. It's still closed. The laser tag cartoon? No. I remember, wasn't there one based on Photon? That was the other, like, the competitor for laser tag. Yeah, my parents let me play Leisure Suit Larry also because of Space Quest and King's Quest, and my dad knew about those games. So because this was made by the same people, he was like, yeah, go ahead and play it. And I brought it to school, and I was playing it in my study hall, and the scene where you're banging that girl at the beginning in the bar, in the apartment above, and you see the little censored bar going like up and down, the teacher that was supervising the study hall just kind of went like, huh? But they didn't do anything. I'm like, it's a game. So now we get into the 4Ks. I picked up a bunch of really cool stuff. Some were pre-orders that I got off of Amazon. The rest I kept on going to Best Buy to see what was going on, and I kept on finding cool shit. So first one up, we've got Piranha. I hadn't watched this movie in like 25 years, I want to say. I watched it randomly. I got it from the video store one day because I was like, why not? Turns out it's directed by Joe Dante. This is the first movie Joe Dante ever directed. He did this before Gremlins, before The Howling. This was the movie that got him the job on The Howling. And it's a Roger Corman production. It is dirt cheap. It's a ripoff of Jaws in every single way, except instead of a shark, it's like a whole bunch of like rabid, mutated piranha that have been released into like a lake. And it's actually pretty funny. It's like kind of making fun of Jaws at the same time. You can even see like the poster is a rip off of the Jaws poster. And it's really well made for something that had like zero budget. And it has a lot of decent actors in it too. And I watched this, I think, last week, and I was laughing at it. Some of the effects are still kind of gross when people are getting chomped on, but it's a pretty decent movie. And then James Cameron ended up directing the sequel to this before he did The Terminator. Yikes. Next up is another one from Shout Factory or Screen Factory. This is another one. I pre-ordered this one. This is the original Black Christmas, the one by Bob Clark, the same guy who directed A Christmas Story and Porky's, made like one of the first slasher films ever. It's about a sorority house during the holidays, during Christmas, that a bunch of the girls decided to stay behind instead of going home, and there's a killer loose in the sorority house. And it's very freaky. It's got a lot of stars in it before there were anybody. Like Margot Kidder was in this before she played Lois Lane in Superman. It's got the girl who played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, Keir Dullea. He was in 2001. He played Dave in 2001, and then he did this. Whatever. And John Saxon from Nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually a very cool, very well-made horror movie. Not exactly gory, but enough. So I had to pick that up. So it turns out I ended up getting like 4 holiday movies, and I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't do that, but I ended up buying like 4 Christmas themed movies this month, and I didn't even realize it until I got the last one in the mail, and I was like, oh yeah, I did a thing. Sure. The original Black Christmas, I do not like any of the remakes. There's been 2 different remakes of Black Christmas. The one that came out in like 2004 or 2005, maybe even 2006, I can't remember. It was okay. Then there was Black Xmas that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, which was one of the worst movies I think I saw that year. It was just stupid. What else do I got from Shout Factory? Anything else? I don't think. Oh yeah. Jesus, I can't even talk right now. I missed getting these when they were new, so I did not get slip covers with these. I should probably peel this label off so you can actually see what freaking movie this is. But I was putzing around on Amazon the other day, like on Monday, and saw that these had been discounted a little bit on Amazon, so I picked them up, and I upgraded from my original Blu-ray versions, but we got Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. So Scream Factory bought the rights to put these on 4K because I don't think that Universal had any plans to do such a thing. So I actually love these 2 movies. They surprised the hell out of me. I didn't watch them in the theater. I had no interest. They came out on video. I started reading people's reviews and seeing people talking about them. Black Nerd Comedy, who I watch all the time whenever he does reactions to trailers, did a reaction to the trailer for part 2 because apparently he loved the first one. And I was like, is it really that good? So I kind of made an effort to go and watch the first one. And I think it was last year when I went to Milwaukee to hang out with Rocket Sauce and I went game hunting. I ended up buying more movies than games. I found a dirt cheap copy of the first movie. And I was like, for $3 or $4 or whatever it was, I'll pick it up just to watch it. And if it sucks, I'll just get rid of it. And I really liked it. And then like 2 days later, I bought the second one. So these are really fun. I wouldn't call it a slasher. It's like a horror comedy about this girl who's like on a college campus, and she gets stuck in like an endless loop, like in Groundhog Day. She keeps reliving the same day over and over again, and the day loops whenever she gets killed by this killer who's stalking her. And the whole point of the movie is her trying to figure out who is stalking her, so she can end the loop. And the twist is, to keep it different from Groundhog Day, is every single time she dies, she starts to get a little bit weaker. And there's going to be a point where she probably won't even be able to wake up anymore when the day loops over again. So she has to figure it out. And like, there's a point where she like just starts to get suicidal and she just starts killing herself to end the pain. And then she realizes that she's starting to get weaker and weaker. And she's like, I need to figure this out now before I actually die. So that's what the first one is. And the second one is turns out the loop isn't over, but they tell you why the loop started and what caused it and how she can actually fix it. And it's really cool. I really like the way it goes. It goes into like Back to the Future territory. And there's actually a point where the main character is wearing Marty McFly's orange jacket, like that life preserver looking thing that he was wearing in the movie, to like bring the homage home. And they're making a third one right now, so I think it's gonna be the final movie in the franchise. But these are fantastic. I love them, so I had to get those in 4K. You wish it was rated R? Yeah, so do I. But I look at it more as a comedy than a horror movie, so I consider it more like a thriller. So I can get those are ones I don't mind that are PG-13. There's other horror movies out there that should have been R instead of PG-13. Those, yeah, it would have been cool, but I think as they are, they're fine. So let's get these other movies. So I had a bunch of pre-orders. Which one should I start with? I'll start with the ones that aren't like awesome. I upgraded my copy of War Games. Randomly, this just came out on 4K. I saw it listed on Amazon. I pre-ordered it, and it showed up. But even brand new, it didn't come with a slipcover, which is kind of disappointing. But I think this is just considered like a catalog release, just to have product out there. Real fun movie from the 80s. I saw this in the theater. My mother took me and my brother to go and see this, about this kid, Matthew Broderick, who's a computer hacker, accidentally hacks into like a government computer that does war games, and they actually start World War III in the computer and makes everybody at NORAD think that it actually is happening. And it's really good. I watched this maybe 8 months ago on Amazon. It was streaming, so I checked it out, and I was like, I haven't watched this in a long time. Let's check it out. And like, it still holds up. It's still really good. The film, the score, the music in the movie is pretty terrible, but the movie itself is still fun. Shall we play a game? You damn right. How's it going, Dan? Welcome. Another classic. I picked this one up. I thought I missed the boat on this one because it came out in October, and if you don't get some of these new releases within the first month, you're never going to get the slipcover. But I went there like 2 weeks ago, and I found this, and it still had the slipcover, and I was surprised that it had it, so I snapped it up, and that is The Lost Boys. I love this movie. It's a fantastic vampire movie. There was like a lot of really awesome like vampire comedies that were out in the 80s that I love, like Fright Night and this. This one is like all the Brat Pack kids. It's got Jason Patrick and Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Jamie Gertz, Kiefer Sutherland, Bill S. Preston Esquire. One of the few movies that was directed by Joel Schumacher that I think is absolutely awesome, but it has a great soundtrack. Like everybody in it, I don't know what it is with Joel Schumacher, but he wants everybody to look pretty like all the time. It's really kind of creepy, but it has great gore. It's funny. The vampire stuff is great. The big twist at the end is great. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite vampire films. Had to have that. Once Bitten, I do have on Blu-ray. Next up is, this is what I went there to get at Best Buy when I picked up Lost Boys, and it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I avoided picking up Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because there's a few YouTube channels that I watch that have to do with nothing but films on home video, like, you know, the physical releases. It's Films at Home and Serial at Midnight. And both the people, Heath and I can't remember the other guy from Films at Home's name. But whatever, they both said that the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles 4K transfer was absolutely god-awful. It was like they smoothed everything out. They did a whole bunch of filters on it to like get rid of the film grain and makes everyone look like a mannequin. So I avoided getting that one, but that was like one of the Thanksgiving movies I was thinking about adding to the collection, but I ended up passing. So I was worried about this and another movie that I have here. Turns out that the transfers to 4K were considered fantastic. Like they said, this is the best this movie's ever going to look, and it's the best this other movie's ever going to look. So I ran out to pick a copy of it up before the slipcovers were gone. I love this movie. I saw this at the Dollar Theater when I was a kid, but it's fantastic. I'm not a Chevy Chase fan, but I really like the vacation films. This is the third one. I need to get European. I have Vacation on Blu-ray. I need to get European Vacation. But this one I think is the best of the three. It has all the best jokes. The characters are great, like Randy freaking Quaid. Everything that comes out of his mouth in this movie is awesome. Shitter was full. Like I remember I used to do that when I'd walk out of the bathroom after dropping a deuce when I was still living with my parents. I'd walk out and I'd stop at the top of the stairs and look at my parents in the living room. And they'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Shitter's full." But the one I always liked was every time my wife would rev up the microwave, I'd piss my pants and forget who I was for a half hour or so. Like, that one still gets me every time I hear it. But it's a great holiday classic. I had to have it, and I hear the transfer is top-notch. The other one, this movie's even older than that, but they said that this is the best this movie's ever looked and probably will look, and that is A Christmas Story. Yeah, this is on TV. Was it TBS? Like they loop it every Christmas. I don't have cable, so I don't get to watch it. I didn't even own this on Blu-ray or for DVD before this. This is the first time I think I've owned it since VHS. So I found this at Best Buy, and I snapped it up before the slipcovers were gone, because there were still a bunch of them that had no slipcovers. I got one of the last ones. But love this movie. I saw this in the theater when I was a kid. I think there was some movie that I wanted to go and see that we saw this when I was in Ohio. We were visiting for the holiday. There was a movie that me and my brother wanted to see, and my cousins would always take us out whenever we'd come to visit to go and see a film. And they would always pick the movie, but I would always try to convince them otherwise if there was something I wanted to see. I don't remember what the movie was. It might have been the He-Man and She-Ra movie. That might have been when I saw Back to the Future out there. I don't remember. There was something I was trying to go and get them to take us to see, and they took us to see this instead. And I was like, no, I don't want to see that. But they took us, and I ended up absolutely loving it. It's a fantastic movie. It's genuinely funny. Heart's in the right place. I love it. Classic lines. It's one of my favorites, but I haven't watched it in a long time because I don't have cable. Christmas Story, probably Christmas Vacation. I probably watched Christmas Vacation more than, or I watched that over Christmas Story, but Christmas Story, I think, is the better made movie than Christmas Story is better made than Vacation, but Vacation, I think, is funnier. And I would usually watch it because it's funnier. Let's see. What else do I got here? I also picked up, I consider this a classic. I remember watching this on cable and going like, how come nobody ever told me about this movie? I don't even remember this playing in the theater. My dad was like, oh, I remember it. I remember having the conversation with my dad. He's like, oh, I remember it. It only lasted like 2 weeks. So watched it every time I was on cable. Another one of those movies that I'm surprised my parents let me watch. Never allowed to watch horror movies, but when people are getting beheaded violently in your face, sure. We're talking the original Highlander. Came out in 4K. I pre-ordered this one because it is the director's cut. The director's cut is the better cut of this film. It only adds in maybe like 2 or 3 minutes worth of stuff, but it explains who that woman that works for Connor is, that kind of like that older woman. Turns out he rescued her during like World War II when she was a kid, and he kind of adopted her like his daughter and has raised her basically. And now she's outliving him, or he's outliving her. Sorry, he's outliving her. He's basically watched her turn into like an old woman, and it makes it kind of sad. And there's a couple of scenes with Kurgan just saying some weird shit. There's a scene where he's like in the church and he starts like taunting a priest at the end. But it's a fantastic movie. I absolutely love it. About a bunch of immortals that are like gathering for like one final confrontation. They're like drawn together, and the only way you can kill them is to behead them, and the last person standing at the end of it gets like the prize, and what the prize ends up being is kind of cool until the sequels ruined it. I don't think this movie ever needed a sequel, but it got 4 of them, 4 sequels, and 2 TV shows. Nah. It should have just been this. This is a perfect movie as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people can't stand it. I love it. I need to watch this. I'll probably watch this tomorrow. Next up, we have some steel books, and then I'll drop the last holiday movie. I picked up Last Action Hero, a steel book of this. Pretty awesome. I've always been a fan of Last Action Hero. I remember I wanted to see it opening day, but none of my friends wanted to go because the reviews for it were pretty bad. So no one wanted to go see it. I would refuse to go and see a movie by myself back in the day. Nowadays, I don't give a shit. I'll go and see any movie by myself. I went and, Tuesday? I saw 4 movies at the theater by myself, like in a row. I just went from theater to theater to theater, watching movies all day long by myself. I have no problem with it. Back then, no. I don't know if I was real self-conscious about it or whatever, but the only time I could get people to go and see this was when it was playing at the Dollar Theater. So I got a group of people together. They're like, for $1, sure, let's go see it. The sequel's totally ruined. It totally did. I remember I was really excited about Highlander 2, and I convinced my dad to take me, or actually the whole family, to go see it in the theater. And when it was over, my dad just looked at me, and he was just like, yep, you chose that one. Yep. But I still saw every other movie in the theater except the final one that was only released. I think it went direct to cable, went right to the Sci-Fi Channel. Was it The Source? That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The fourth one wasn't too bad. The one that kind of tied into the TV show. That was the only sequel that I felt worked alongside this one. The other one's nah. But when it came to this, like we got like 3 other friends to go and see this in the Dollar Theater. And when it was over, I had a big smile on my face. I got it. It's making fun of Arnold's action movies. It's making fun of Hollywood and action movies in general. The kid in the movie just points out all the cliches all the time. Arnold's making fun of himself and looks like he's having a real blast doing it. I mean, a guy gets killed with an ice cream cone in this, for crying out loud. And then Arnold cracks a joke about it. But like when we walked out of the theater, I was grinning ear to ear. I was like, that was awesome. And a friend of mine, what was her name, Lisa, turned and looked at me. She's like, that movie was an insult to my intelligence. And I was like, well, you need to watch more movies. Because I thought this was fantastic. It's funny. The action is pretty decent. It has a great soundtrack, like hard rock soundtrack, like AC/DC and stuff like that. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. I can watch this any time of the year. It's a good time. Also picked up a serious movie. I picked up Gattaca. The steel book of this is, I still have it wrapped. I should just unwrap it so you can see it without the glare. Derpity derp derp. Unboxing video. There you go. Gattaca, Ethan Hawke, and what's her name? Uma Thurman and Jude Law. This is where Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman met, and they hooked up after this and got married. It's a science fiction movie, not a sci-fi movie, where everybody is like genetically perfect, and this guy and all the people that are genetically perfect live inside this like enclosed like habitat, I guess. And the people that live outside of it are all the people that were born naturally, not in a petri dish. And one guy who lives outside wants to get inside because he's super smart and he wants to be part of this space program that only the genetically perfect have access to. So he like fakes his credentials, has surgery. Every day he goes to work, he has to like do like a blood test, and he manages to figure out a way to fake it. And it's all about like, can genetics actually does it tell you who you are, like kind of thing. It's a lot of heady concepts and stuff, but it's a fantastic movie. I love it. Saw us in the theater with a couple of friends, and we're just like, wow. And then the guy that directed this went and made The Truman Show. So fantastic movie. I haven't watched it in probably 15 years, so I need to watch it. And then also picked up the steelbook of Pulp Fiction, classic, and another movie that I was really worried about because, what is it, Inglourious Bastards got like a pretty shitty transfer to 4K. But last month I picked up Reservoir Dogs. Turns out that I was worried about that one too. I turned out, because of those 2 YouTube channels that I watch, they both said that it is one of the best transfers they've seen all year for Reservoir Dogs. And then they were hoping that the same thing would happen to Pulp Fiction. Turns out it did. They are saying that this looks like a brand new film without any tampering to like smooth things out. It still has film grain and all that. So absolutely love this movie. I saw it 3 times in the theater. Took different people to see it each time. It kind of blew my mind because I saw Reservoir Dogs on home video, and I was like, that's a pretty cool way to tell a story where it's all in pieces and they're all mixed up. I hope that Quentin Tarantino decides to keep it, that format, and he did with this one. It is like that movie to the nth degree, and it's fantastic. Put John Travolta back on the map, Uma Thurman in it again. I've got a couple movies to her. I love the artwork on this, but this is still sealed. What's on the back? Let's take a look. Has a bunch of new extras, I do believe. Yep. So you got Uma Thurman and John Travolta dancing, but they're dancing on the speedometer from a car, and on the back it's got the Big Boy Burger or whatever it was, the Red Apple cigarettes, and the $10 milkshake. Fantastic. I had to have this. It's one of my favorite films. I could watch this one any day of the week. It's a little rough at times, but man, it's good. Love it. Most underrated movie? You bet your ass. Dark Knight Rises? Nice. Genetically inferior, treated like second-class citizens. Yep, I need to watch it again, but I absolutely love it. Happy New Year to you, too. Thanks for stopping by, Game Room. I'm glad you're able to stop by. And the last movie I have today is another Christmas movie, but I had never seen this before. I wanted to Couldn't find it streaming anywhere, especially in the version that this is, and that is Krampus. This is considered the naughty cut. This is the director's cut. And what's director's cutty about it? Well, apparently this was released in theaters PG-13. I never saw it. This is the first time I ever saw it was when I popped this 4K in to watch it. But I found it discounted on Amazon, so I decided to pick it up. It's another Scream Factory release that they put out a couple of years ago, I think. And I just been sleeping on it. I'm surprised I still got it with the slipcover. 2 years later, that is unheard of. So the unrated cut of this adds like, what was it? 2 swear words from what I read. 2 swear words and a shot of somebody being dragged. Uncut my ass. But whatever. It's like the anti-holiday movie. Krampus is like the anti-Santa Claus. If you are, what was it? If you wish for, what was it? The kid wishes his family was dead or something. Because he's having like a miserable Christmas. He hates his aunt and his uncle. They're all a bunch of like country ass people that are annoying. And they're kind of jerks, and they make fun of him, the kid that's the lead in the movie, because he still believes in Santa. And he basically wishes for Krampus to come and kill everybody. And Krampus does. The only problem I had with the movie was, for a movie called Krampus, and you can see him on the front there in like the Santa Claus outfit with the horns, it's more about the entourage that Krampus brings with him than it is about Krampus. Krampus only really shows up at the very end of the movie. So I was kind of disappointed that it's all about like all of his little subordinates doing all the hijinks in the movie and not him. If it's called Krampus, it should have been about Krampus. But it has a pretty good cast. It has Adam, what's his name? Adam Scott from Parks and Recreation. Toni Collette, who is becoming like a Scream Queen. What was it? Fright Night remake. Hereditary. I see her in a lot of shit. David Koechner, who's in Final Destination 5. But he's a stand-up. He's a comedian. I don't think anybody else is really a star is in this. But the guy who made Trick or Treat made this, and everybody thinks Trick or Treat is the best freaking holiday or horror. God, I can't talk. The best Halloween movie ever made. I'm not on that boat. I don't like that movie at all. But I was willing to watch this, and I actually really enjoyed it because the ending is so cool. The ending of this is rad. So I was not sad that I picked this up, but I didn't pay a lot for it, so that's that. The ending is freaky. I love the ending. The ending, I think, makes the movie. Let's get all these wrappers out of here. So I was not sad that I bought that one. Your son loves Krampus. Okay, so that's it for movies. Like I said, this is a very light movie month. This is going to be 20% movies and 80% games because I went crazy this month because I am nuts. And I got a bonus from work that was very substantial. So spend it on stuff I'm probably never going to play. That's the way it works. When it comes to something that is not a game but has to do with games, I picked up another PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 controller. Got this one on Black Friday from, I think, Best Buy, and it didn't show up until after November. So I've been using this one exclusively. Currently, I'm playing God of War, Ragnarok. I actually beat a bunch of games this month, which is unheard of for me to beat more than one in a month, and I'm about to finish Ragnarok, so I actually have beaten 3 this month. So there's that. Yeah, everybody I know is like, Trick or Treat is the best Halloween movie ever made. And I remember I watched it and I was just like, Like, I don't care. And like, I remember the old YouTube show that I used to do with my friend Josh. It was called Toasty. We used to bring in different guests that had like they were experts in certain things. That at least we considered them experts in certain things. And there was this guy that was an expert in horror movies. That's because he had a blog that was just all about the horror movies he was watching. And I was like, hey, would you come on the show every once in a while and give us like a horror themed like list of like stuff to watch for, Halloween or whatever. And we did a Halloween episode and we brought him on, and Trick or Treat, I think, was his number one pick. And I was just like, no. And he actually, like, in the video, it's still online. If you look up Toasty with an exclamation point, I think it's Toasty Show is what it's listed under. He actually like there's a part where he like looks at me because he starts talking about it and I start shaking my head behind the camera. And he was just like, you're an idiot. He's like, it's a great movie. And I was like, nah, Nah. So let's get to the games. So first one I have is something I had no idea existed. I don't remember where I read about this. I think I saw a picture of it on someone's Facebook profile, maybe in one of the groups I'm in. But I had to look it up immediately because I'm a huge fan of the first game in this series, which I had no idea had a sequel. I'm peeling off labels that were stuck on this. And it is called Dragon Saber. This is the sequel to Dragon Spirit. Dragon Spirit, the arcade game, it was a vertically scrolling shmup where you're playing as a dragon. Power-ups give you extra heads, different fireball types and stuff like that. It came to the NES and it came to the TurboGrafx 16 and the PC Engine. Only in Japan, they got the sequel, Dragon Saber, which is more of the same. It's just everything looks a little bit better and plays a little bit better and has a couple of extra rules and modes. And I found this on eBay and I snapped it up the moment I found out about it. So, yeah, I haven't played it yet. I should just pop this into my Retro Freak and give it a shot, but I haven't done that yet. I probably should to make sure it works because if it doesn't, time's about to expire when I can return it. So, absolutely thrilled that I found that. Numbers of games beaten? Not even close, dude. Not even close. I will never beat over 100 games in 1 year. I watch movies. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I have hobbies. I do multiple podcasts. I don't have time to play games all day, every day. More power to him. I'm glad that he does, but I don't have time to do that. Found this one. So, like I said earlier in the stream, beginning of the month, first weekend of December, I went up to Wisconsin to hang out with its Rocket Sauce so I can participate in the Cartridge Club's Extra Life charity stream. And I made a weekend out of it. I went there on Saturday, drove up there on Saturday. We went game hunting throughout Wisconsin again. I spent way too much money, but I had that bonus. So I was like, this is where it's going to go, apparently. And ended up spending the night. And then Sunday we streamed on the Cartridge Club's Twitch channel, and it was a lot of fun. Got to find out that a bunch of the Dreamcast games that I thought didn't work actually do work because it's the model of my Dreamcast that doesn't allow me to play the games that I had bought, the repros and hacks. So I got to get that worked out. So bunch of games. Maybe I should just talk about what I'll go in order and I'll just say that this is what I bought. So I found this at, I think it's called Mega Media, I think is the name of the place we went to. It's movies and games and Pokemon cards and music and all that kind of stuff. Everything that's on physical media, they have it. And I found this thinking it was something else. So I picked up this Super Nintendo game called Super Putty, which was not that expensive. It was really cheap. It's a platformer. We're playing as like this little piece of goo, and just like in the picture, your main weapon is you can extend like a bunch of your material into like a fist to punch things. And it's not bad. It's not great. I thought this was, I don't remember the name of the game now. There's a game that everyone's been talking about lately. I think Cassandra McKenna has been talking. She streamed it or she was taking pictures of it or something like that, where it's very similar to this. It's not called Super Putty, but it's like Putty something. And I thought that's what this was. So I was like, oh, shit, that's that game everyone's been talking about online. Snap it up before the guy realizes it and jacks up the price. Turns out, no, it's not the same game. But it's okay. Like I said, I didn't pay a whole lot for it, so I'm not completely disappointed. But I can't remember the name of the game. PCE. Yeah, I have the sports one, the black one. It doesn't play a lot of these repros and hacks that I have. But I still have my original Dreamcast. It's just that it's stuck in VGA mode. What's up, Nintendo? What's up, Broskito? You not streaming, bro? Dude, I hate you right now, Nintendo. I hate your freaking guts. Because you got me to take my laptop, install Steam on it, and download Vampire Survivors. And I've been playing that all freaking day. I got absolutely nothing done today. Because I've been playing Vampire Survivors since I freaking woke up. I hate you. I hate you, hate you, hate you. But you're awesome. I love you. You're awesome. That game is super fun. It is addictive as all hell. Next up, we've got... Oh, yeah, my old Dreamcast, my original Dreamcast is still stuck in VGA mode. and I can't get it out. So Rocket Sauce has his Dreamcast hooked up through VGA. So next time I go to visit him, I'm going to take my Dreamcast up there with him, and I'm going to switch it back so I can start using it again. Got a bunch of Game Gear games. 2 of these are because of the charity stream that I was on when I was visiting Rocket Sauce, the Cartridge Club's Extra Life charity stream. Because Creepleet, or Creepy Josh, as Rocket Sauce calls him, streamed 2 of these because he decided to, when it was his turn to stream, he streamed on Saturday night, I think starting at like 8 p.m. Central, and he went till like 10. He streamed nothing but Game Gear stuff. And he was like, nobody's going to stream this kind of stuff on this channel, so I'm going to do it. And I was like, cool, I can see some games I've never seen before because I love the Game Gear. And he streamed Jurassic Park. And I was like, oh, God, no. When he said he was going to stream it, I was like, why? Because I have been under the assumption for years, for decades, that this is just a port of the Genesis game, and I do not like the Genesis game. This is a completely different thing. He was streaming it, and I was like, this actually looks very fun. So whenever you're going to an area, you're in one of the Jeeps. You can see it down here. You're in one of the Jeeps from the park, and you're trying to outrun the dinos and avoid obstacles by like jumping over them and stuff. And there's like dinosaurs always chasing you. And then once you get to the area, it turns into like a side-scrolling puzzle platformer, which looks super fun. It is nothing like what it was on the Genesis. Absolutely nothing like it, which is why I was like, huh. And there was actually a bunch of people in the chat going like, this game looks awesome. Why did I not know about this? And I was one of them. And while I was watching the stream, I just looked at Rocket Sauce because I was sitting on one couch. He was sitting on the other one. I just turned and looked at Rocket Sauce, and I was like, guess what? I'm going to order this right now. And I did. I went on my phone, went onto eBay, found a really cheap complete copy, ordered it, and I told Creeply in his stream, I was like, dude, you just convinced me. I just bought a copy. And he was just like, what? It is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So I'm glad that I was able to find a complete copy that did not break the damn bank. And then right after he beat that, he streamed The Lion King. And The Lion King is a port of all of the other versions of this game. The Super Nintendo, the Genesis version, it's all the same. The only thing is this one isn't super freaking hard. This one is actually, like, the difficulty has been eased up a little bit. And, like, Josh just blew right through it. And I was like, well, there's one to get. So I found a super, super cheap copy of this. And it is, like I said, the exact same game. It doesn't look as good. It looks like a Master System game, which it basically is a port from. But it is not super difficult, which is why I wanted it. Plus licensed games. And then since I was buying that, I was like, well, I've been putting off buying this one for years also because it's always the same price. It's always complete, and it's usually always sealed because nobody seemed to have bought this game when it came out. And that is Aladdin. And I got a sealed copy for dirt cheap. I think I paid $15 for this. And this is a port of, is it? Yeah, this is a port of the Genesis game. It's just like it's the Master System version of it. So you can see Aladdin's got the sword down there. Because at first I thought this was more of a port of the NES game because the NES was overseas. They had an NES version of Aladdin, and it was a downgraded port of the Super Nintendo game. I thought that that's what this one was. Turns out, no, this is actually a port of the Genesis one, which is cool. So, always wanted it. Had to have it. Hey, kid, I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading. I also have one that says, who wants a body massage? Bruce Wing. Oh, Mr. Body Massage Machine, go. Dwayne Castle. Pick these, all 3 of these up while I was visiting Rocket Sauce in Wisconsin. We went to this one Mega Media place that I thought it was closer to his home. It turns out it wasn't because I ended up buying a game and not realizing that I already owned it. The way my app on my phone works is it doesn't categorize. If the is the first word in the title of a game, it categorizes it under the. You have to go in there and change it around to make it categorize it under whatever comes after the. And I never did it. It was The Suffering Part 2. And I looked up Suffering in my app, and it said I had the first game, but I didn't have the second game. Turns out I did. I just never changed it. So I'm like, oh, I don't have this. I bought it. Start going through my app to add the games in as I was sitting on Rocket Sauce's couch. I'm adding them into my app, and I came across that I already owned it. And I was like, shit, can I take this back? So we went back the next day, and I exchanged that for WWF Rage in the Cage on the Sega CD. I've always wanted this. Not because it's a good game. It's not. It's a port of the Genesis game. Just has some full motion video stuff in there featuring all the different wrestlers that you can play as in this. And oh my God, the lettering is so tiny. You can play as Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, Kamala, Ted DiBiase, Tatanka, Mr. Perfect, Rick Martel, Crush, Bam Bam Bigelow, Bret Hart, IRS, Yokozuna, Big Boss Man, Undertaker, Razor Ramon, Samu, the head shrinkers, Samu and Fatu. I don't even know who the hell those are. And then the Nasty Boys, what is that? Knobs and Sags and Lex Luger. Sure. I've always wanted to have this. Even back in the day, I kind of wanted to have it. And I always said this is probably the best version of this game out there since the Genesis one probably had shitty music and shitty graphics and all that. And this one has full motion video stuff in it too. So I picked it up. I basically just exchanged it. I paid, I think, $10 extra for it out of pocket. So it was not super expensive. So I snagged it. The Nasty Boys. Oh, the one I have is fantastic. It's just that one thing bugs me about the and A. If A or the are the first things in the title, I have to go in there and miss it around. Majesco re-released a lot of those licensed games of the Game Gear and a lot of the sealed games of those re-released. Yeah, I figured as much. This one is the Majesco one, I think. Yeah, Majesco. The Lion King, on the other hand, is the actual Disney one, but I didn't pay a lot of money for it. So that's good. But when we went there that Saturday, I picked up a copy of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 2. I think Volume 1 was only available on the PC. And I've always wanted this back in the day because I like a good point-and-click adventure game. And this one is very full-motion video-y. It doesn't really show a whole lot, but there's 3 different mysteries to solve. You can see you got the 2 lions, the pilfered paintings, and the murdered munitions magnate. And, yeah, full motion. You can tell how early Sega CD this is because it came in the cardboard box. So I saw this sitting there on the shelf, and I was like, you know what? Give me that. I'm going to take it because how often do I see Sega CD games still in the box, especially these, aren't destroyed, and the CDs themselves are actually in great shape? Never. So I bought it. And I also picked this up while I was there. I talked about this last week for the Saturn stream that I did for my video game collection 2022 stuff. And that's Virtual Highlight. I know this game is terrible. I don't care. I wanted to have it in my collection because it is terrible. I'm like a big fan of B movies and B video games. Yes. So I almost bought this off of Movie Tom or Tom Reinert. He does WhatsApp or whatever it is or whatnot. It's the auction app where you do like a live stream auction. And he told me he was going to be selling his copy of this. And there was like a certain point where I was going to cap how much money I was willing to spend. And it actually went way past it. And I was like, nope, not buying it now. But I did find this cheaper than I would have bought it for, or I would have bought it from Movie Tom. So I was super happy about it. But it's an RPG where it's like full motion video-y. It's behind the character in the third person. It is clunky as fuck. It does not work. It is not fun. I played it for like 10 minutes and I was just like, nah, I'm good, fam. It is so badly. Every highlight game is like terrible for some reason. It's like you would think that the people that are making these games would take the criticism to heart and try to actually make a good one, but it sounds like they never did. It's just they just pump these games out without listening to any of the criticisms. What's up, Roaming Dan? Yo. Sherlock Holmes, yep. The NES game is so good. Not really. The Genesis 1, 2, high quality stuff. Yeah, those are... I have the Nintendo version of Highlight, and it is not good. Not good. One of the other games I picked up when I was out with Rocket Sauce in Wisconsin is Top Gun Fire at Will. This is obviously had to get it because it's a licensed game. Turns out, like, I kept on running into Top Gun games that day when we were out game hunting because the next... I got this at Freak Toys, which is a fantastic store in Sheboygan if you ever get out that way. Check it out. But the next store we went to was Gaming Generations, and they had a PS3 Top Gun game that I did not know about. That was like a 2-pack. It had the game and the first film on Blu-ray in the same pack. But they wanted like an obscene amount of money for it, so I was like, nah, I'm good. But the reason I picked this one up is licensed game, and it was $5. But this is a behind the plane like air combat, ace combat style, into the screen shooter. The thing about this one, it has full motion video cutscenes because that's what you did back in the day. And it has actors in it that you might recognize. The guy at the top, the army guy, is the principal from Back to the Future that calls everyone slackers. And the woman who's the reporter with the microphone played the villain in Fright Night 2 back in the 80s. That was Jerry Dandridge's sister vampire. Yeah. Don't remember what her name is. She was also in the Mouth of Madness. But had to get it for that fact alone. Absolutely had to do it. Having lag issues on the server side. What are you talking about, Mondane? It's moving pretty normal on my end. I can't see Roaming Dan's comment. I don't know. This is all through StreamYard, so if it's an issue, it's an issue on StreamYard. But I see them. Certain Nintendo told me to join this badass live stream. Nice. Now we're going off to Game Boy Advance. I got this one because Radical Reggie talked about it in one of his streams. No, it wasn't a stream. It was just like a video he did. Maybe it was like a short or something. I saw Radical Reggie talking about this. Maybe it was on Facebook. I don't remember where. It was earlier in the month. It's called Medal of Honor Infiltrator. I knew nothing about this game. I know that there was a Medal of Honor game released that was a port of Underground, the PlayStation 1 game. That is, it's a first-person shooter, and it was terrible. Stop Skeletons from Fighting did like a review of it, and it's like, he loves it because of how terrible it is, but I was like, I am never going to buy that. That looks like the worst thing ever. This isn't a first-person shooter. This one is a top-down Legend of Zelda style adventure game. It's kind of like playing Metal Gear. It also has like shooting gallery segments up here where you have like a little reticle and you're shooting bad guys. And there's some sections that are like a vertically scrolling shmup. So I saw this, or I saw him talking about it, and I was like, wow, that sounds freaking amazing. I need to own it. It was a little expensive. And then, like, because of the storm, the winter storm that we had last week, it was supposed to show up last week. It didn't show up until, I think, Tuesday this week. So it was delayed for basically an entire week because of the storm, even though it wasn't really a bad storm. I don't get it. Whatever. I'm going to stop talking about it. It's fantastic. I had to have this. I absolutely had to. Put these up here. Yep, I didn't know anything about it either until Radical Reggie brought it up, and I was just like, God damn it, that guy is he should be an honorary enabler brother on my podcast. So I picked this one up while I was out with Rocket Sauce, and I could not remember if I had this for the other game in this series for the Xbox or the PS2. I totally forgot to bring my phone in the store with me. So I was lucky that it was for the PlayStation 2. So now I have both of these games for the PlayStation 2. Nintendo, you're going to love it. It's Castlevania Curse of Darkness. I have Lament of Innocence already. Now I have both. So fantastic. This is like 3D Metroidvania. And these are the decent ones. I was not a fan of the ones on the Nintendo 64, nor anything else on the Nintendo 64 for that matter. But I absolutely had to get it. It was a little expensive, but like I said, got that bonus from work. So I was like, this is what, you spend that bonus on, the expensive stuff you normally wouldn't be able to afford. This is a little bit outside what I would normally be willing to pay for it. But like I said, bonus made me do it. I blame the bonus. So had to have that. Let's see here. I bought this one because I was flipping through the shorts on YouTube, and some gamer brought this up. And this is a Nintendo DSi game. There was only like 5 or 6 DSi exclusive games released. And this one is like a augmented reality style game. But I don't remember exactly why he convinced me to buy it. I don't remember what it was. There was something unique about this that made me say, ooh, gotta get it. And I got this dirt cheap. It's still sealed, for Christ's sake. It's called System Flaw. There was something about this game that made me go, ooh, need to have that. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it's something that you can use to hack the console. I don't remember. I need to look it up again. But yeah, it's like an augmented reality game, but you have to have a DSi. You can use this on a 3DS or a 2DS. You just can't use this on a regular DS. You have to have the DSi or anything after that. So yeah, it's basically like you aim the camera outward and whatever you're seeing, like bad guys are like superimposed over it and that kind of stuff. I think I paid $7 for it. So had that. Maybe it's just because it was a DSi game, and I don't have any of those yet. Yeah, this like even the side art has like the DSi logo instead of it saying Nintendo DS or Nintendo 3DS or whatever. It's just I think there were specifically 5 or 6 games released just for the DSi. Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 exclusives. It's weird. I might try to find the rest of them, maybe. See what's up. See what kind of shit they got. But when I was in Wisconsin, I went crazy for the PlayStation 3. I've been going nuts for the PS3 because I ran out of space on my shelving unit for my 360, but I have tons of space available on my PlayStation shelf, specifically where the PS3 is. So I was like, okay, so which games do I have for the 360 that are also available on the PS3, and which ones would I would rather switch over and get the PS3 version of it so I can clear off some space in these shelves. So I went kind of crazy trying to get all those games that I was willing to swap for PS3. Starting off with Enslaved Journey to the West. I played through this on the 360 and I absolutely loved it. This one is by Team Ninja? I think. It's oh my god, the guy that played Gollum. Jesus, now I can't remember his name. I'm really tired tonight. I've been, like I said, I'm playing frickin' Vampire Survivors all damn day. Andy Serkis, he has like a game. I don't know if it's a game development company, but he has like a motion capture company, and they used him, and he plays a character. He plays the lead in this and a character at the end of the game. And it's fantastic. It's like playing an Uncharted game in like a dystopian future where everything's like ruined. And I absolutely loved it. Like the whole mystery is trying to find out what happened to the world. And when you do, it's kind of sad. It's a fantastic game. So I'm not mad to play through that again. I will definitely play through that again. Also picked up Body Count. I did not have this for the 360. This is a new game that I've never owned before. But it's a first-person shooter, and I love first-person shooters, so I had to pick it up. Looked pretty cool on the back, so I snatched it up, and you can see how much I paid for it. Apparently, this is kind of an uncommon game. I remember I've had this on my wish list on Amazon forever. So when I saw it at the store, I was just like, yep, give it to me. And I got this at that Freak Toys place. You can even see it on the label, Freak Toys. Also picked up... Where is it? Did I get this? I think I got this at Generations. Red Faction, Armageddon. Swapped this one out for the 360 version. I need to get Guerrilla also because I love that game. I love both of these games. Red Faction, Armageddon, and Guerrilla are fantastic, like third-person action games. The whole thing about Guerrilla that's awesome is like you have a giant sledgehammer as your main weapon. You can destroy any structure in that game by beating the hell out of it. And it is so cool doing it, like just watching buildings fall because you take out the supports. This one, you have like a gun that if you fire it at like a support, it'll like eat the support away, and then you can like build it back again if you need to. So if there's like something blocking a path, you can like get rid of the path. So the thing that fell onto it that's blocking your path falls through, and then you put the path back kind of thing. It's kind of a cool play mechanic. So had to get this. I beat this one back in the day when it was first released also. So get that. Now I just got to get Guerrilla. Also picked up, I did not have either of these, but I'm trying to get all of them if I can. I got Dynasty Warriors 7 and Dynasty Warriors 8. Musou, I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically just you against a gigantic army, third person, beat them up. Was it Chinese history, I think? Not Japanese? Yeah, Chinese history. Fantastic. I love all these games. They're just so mindless, just button mashers, just beat the crap out of everybody kind of thing. What was the DSi game called? It is The Flaw. Or no, sorry, System Flaw. Wasn't the second DS called DSi after the first larger one? Yeah, DSi was the one that started with a camera. It came with a camera. And that's what that needs. It needs the camera that's on the outside of the casing so it could look outward so you can like play the augmented reality stuff. Enslaved, yeah, Enslaved is awesome. Musou, that's it, Musou. Oh, Musou. The movie's not bad either if you ever watched that on Netflix. Also swapped out my copies of Lost Planet Extreme Condition and Lost Planet 2. Still need to find a copy of Lost Planet 3. I played through the first game on the 360. I actually had the limited edition because I think I still have the miniature that it came with. It came with like one of the mechs from this game. I might have sold it. There is something going on outside. There's a loud rumbling going on out there. Might be a truck. It's a fantastic like third-person action game where you're like on this planet that's like completely frozen, and there's like these creatures or like insect kind of things. It's kind of like Starship Troopers, and you got to take them out because like they're destroying the planet or whatever. I need to play through it again. It's like I played this when it first came out, like in 2007. So it's been a long time since I last played it. I need to play through that, but I've never played through any of the sequels. So there's 2, which is probably more of the same. It just looks a little bit more insane. And there's a third one also, which I've never played, so swap those out. Also decided to swap all of the Dead Space games, and I found Dead Space 2, the limited edition, in Minnesota when I visited Church the Game Grinder, and I was hanging out with him and Corpse Flood Gaming last month when we all met up. I found the second one there at one of the stores, and then I found Dead Space 1 and 3. This is the limited edition of 3. And I think this one comes with, if I'm right, this one comes with a copy of, I can't remember if it's 2 or if it's 3, that comes with a copy of Extraction, Dead Space Extraction, and you can use the Move controllers to play it. It comes with like a free download. I think it's 3. But yeah, absolutely. I played through the first 2 games in this series. I absolutely loved them. I started playing 3, and I got like halfway through it, and I was like, this feels nothing like the other 2 games. What is going on there? It sounds like a goddamn earthquake. Yeah, so like this one turned it more from like a science fiction horror series into just a science fiction action game series. But whatever, can't complain. I had to have all of these because I can't wait for the remake of the first game to come out. I absolutely loved it. I ran out of space to store my 360 games, so I was like, okay, which ones do I know are not available on the PS3? And I picked up the ones that I was willing to swap out. It's because I have plenty of space for PS3 games on my shelf over there. I think I have on the 360. I think I have the Dynasty Warrior, one of the Dynasty Warrior Gundam games. Lurky lurk. Also swapped out these because I did not. So I ordered these off of the. Well, I ordered 2 of them off of the Square Enix website. They were having like a sale. It was like one of their clearance sales or whatever. And the versions they sent me were like the greatest hits versions. And I was like, that's not what I paid for. The picture you had on the website was for the standard versions, and they sent me the greatest hits version. So I was not happy about that. So I never opened them, and I got rid of them. So I ended up getting or repurchasing Final Fantasy 13 or Final Hallway 13 from what I'm told. And also Final Fantasy 13-2. But the cool thing about this is the version that I found is this exclusive Episode 1 novella in pack. So the game, when I bought it, it came like this. And what it is the game. It's just the standard game, but it also comes with a book. Episode 1, Final Fantasy 13. And it's like actually like a book, like a novel, like a little short story or something. I didn't even know this existed, but I'm glad that I found it. Because if I was going to buy it again, it was going to be for this. So yeah, I ended up getting this pack. And I've never played through Final Fantasy 13 because I heard so many bad things about it. So there's that. So now I have these not greatest hits versions. Thank you. And I also, while I was there, I picked up the other game from Final Fantasy 13. That's Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. So it's like the second spin-off from that game. Never played this one either, so there you go. Yeah, I've ever since I purchased a new PlayStation 3, I got like the second the second version of the PlayStation 3, and now that I've got that, I've been playing my PS3 like you would not believe. So actually, it's kind of cool that I've got all these games to play on it now. Even though I'm playing through them again, it's fine. Also, swapped out these. I picked up Star Wars The Force Unleashed and Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. The first game is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It's like a side story to the original movies where Darth Vader had an apprentice. Sam Witwer plays him. I think his name is Starkiller. And it's all about him like rebelling against Vader and trying to take him out. And then he dies at the end of this, so they cloned him in the second one, and the clone does the exact same thing and rebels. The thing is, I read somewhere that they were behind on the making of this, but what was it? Electronic Arts, I think, released these. Whoever was releasing this, LucasArts maybe, was like, we need to have the game out by a certain date. And they were like, well, we need to delay it because we're not going to be at 100% by then. And they're like, no, we need to have it released on this specific date. We need money. And they're like, well, if we release it on that date, it'll probably be at 60% of what it should be. And they were like, we don't care, release it. And that's exactly what happened. And the movie or the game did not get great reviews. And basically they were saying it feels like it's unfinished because it's way too short. Well, that's what happened. It's still a fun game. It's just not nearly as cool as the OG. So there's that. But I would love to see another game in that series. Yeah, the second game was killed halfway through development. Yeah, I heard that. It's just Pick-Ups video? Yep, I'm still going, bro. And then Rocket Sauce picked this up while he was at PRGE. What was it? A few months back? Was that September, maybe October or whatever, when PRGE happened? He went out there to hang out with the Q Dogs, and they all went to PRGE together. And he knew that I had been looking for this game. Every time we hang out, he's always like, don't forget to look for it, and I never find it. He found like 3 copies of this at one specific table in the dealer's hall at PRGE. And he texted me, and he's like, oh, dude, they have it, and it's not horribly priced. Do you want me to get it for you? And I was like, yes. So I like PayPal'd him some money, and he picked me up a copy of the Ratchet and Clank collection. This has the first 3 Ratchet and Clank games that came out on the PlayStation 2 remastered for the PS3. I've been wanting this for so long, but it is so goddamn expensive for some reason. I don't understand it. But the price was great at PRGE. Now I have technically all of the games that were released in the Ratchet and Clank series on the PS3. But there was one that was released exclusively digitally in the US. It was released physically overseas. And Rocket Sauce has a copy of that one. Once I get that, I'm going to say that I have every Ratchet and Clank game ever made. So one more game to go, and I have a complete Ratchet and Clank collection. Ratchet and Clank, ooh. What's up, Peter? Hey, Mondane. I made you a mod last night after the stream, and it does not seem to have taken. Let me change that real quick like. Because just in case Peter isn't here, because we actually had trolls show up last night at the very end, porn bots or whatever they were. So I wanted to give someone else moderator status. Oh, you see him as a mod? It's not showing up here, but Waves and Games is. Maybe it's because Waves and Games. Oh, it's because Waves and Games is. He signed out. He's a member. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, that's why he looks different. Never mind. It shows a wrench on your end too. Ooh, I have 3 mods in one time. Ooh. Okay, so that's it for PS3 stuff. Now we're gonna move on to PS4. I only have 2 PS4 games to show off today. One of them is a limited run game that I missed out on this one. I had no idea. There was a point in time where I stopped buying from limited run because it was taking so goddamn long to get these games, and it still is. I keep buying from them now, even though I know I'm probably not going to get the game for like 9-10 months, or 9-10 months after I purchased it, which is, I'm really pissed off about some of them that are just sitting there waiting for one specific game to finish or a t-shirt or something like that before it can ship. It's just, they're sitting there, just ship me the fucking shit. Anyway, I missed out on this one. It's called Simulacra. It's a full motion video game. I love full motion video games. There's a bunch of modern ones that have been coming out lately too, and Limited Run has been releasing all of them physically. And the idea behind this one is what got me. Basically, you find a cell phone and you are trying to piece together what happened to the owner of the cell phone through the messages and the video calls that she had on here and stuff. So it's kind of like you're being a creeper, and kind of trying to figure out if she got murdered or something. So it's like a missing girl's phone arrives at your doorstep. It plays a cryptic video of her final moments. She pleads not to be found. She pleads not to be found, but something else beckons you. Uncover her life. God, I can't read. By exploring her phone, talk to her friends, reveal the truth, and continue the facade. Recover the lost files and retrace her last steps. With her life in your hands, you're the only one who could find her. I was like, that sounds cool. So, oh, dude, I have like 10 full-motion video games that Limited Run has released over the years, and all of them are pretty good from what I'm told. So I found this on Amazon, of all places. Someone was selling it for maybe $10 more than it was going for on Amazon, or on Limited Run. God, I can't talk. I found this. It was going for $10 more than I guess Limited Run was selling it for on Amazon. So I said, why not? I'll pick it up because I love these types of games. So I snatched it up. Can't talk. And then this is another one that Radical Reggie turned me on to. He took a picture of himself holding this, and I was like, when did that happen? I know these games got remastered for like Steam, and I think they also came out on all the home consoles. I know they were available on the Switch and probably the PlayStation 4 and all that. But I found a copy. This was only released physically overseas in England, and it's Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. I had no idea that these got released physically. I knew that they came out digitally, but I did not know that they got a physical version. And Reggie was holding it in a picture, and I was just like, you know what? I've never actually played through Final Fantasy VIII, and I know a lot of people don't like it. Musty Hobbit from the Cartridge Club swears by it. I watched him streaming it. He was like crying at parts because it was like, oh, it's bringing me back to the day when I first played it kind of thing. And it looked kind of cool. So I was like, if there's any way I'm going to play this, it's going to be to get some achievements or some trophies. So I was like, this is probably the way I'm going to play it if I ever do play through it. So that's that. Drink the 5 times, win the win, ooh, ooh. Uncover the wife, ooh, ooh. Oh my God, everybody is ooh-ooing. Oh God. Not a world story. I hear some, like I said, I hear some people saying it's garbage. I hear other people saying it's awesome. Personally, I've never played through it. My ex-girlfriend from like the mid-2000s, I met her when I was doing online DJing on like an online radio station, and her DJ name was Quistis, which is a character from that because she loved Final Fantasy VIII. And I like Musty Hobbit, like I said, he was freaking like crying at one point because like it brought him back to when he was playing the game for the first time back in the day. So yeah, whatever. If I'm ever gonna play it, it's gonna be to get some trophies. My God, my tongue is not working today. Picked this one up when I went to Best Buy and I snatched some of those Blu-ray or those 4Ks. This was discounted for Black Friday, and I don't know if they forgot to reprice it to what it was before Black Friday, but it was still half off. And games that are released by Nintendo are rarely ever discounted for long. So I picked it up before they realized their boo-boo. And that is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. This is the sequel to Fire Emblem Warriors, which is a Musou-style Fire Emblem game. What is it? Not Namco. Is it Namco? Yeah, Bandai Namco has been like getting the license to certain Nintendo properties and making Musou games out of it. They did it with Legend of Zelda, and they've also done it with Fire Emblems, or the Fire Emblem. So I had to snatch it up before they realized their mistake, because I really enjoyed what I played in the first game, so I'll definitely play through that because I love those Musou games. The Troll Whisperer, what's up, F Google? I'm just messing with y'all. Okay, now it's time for the PS5. I have been buying a lot of PS5 stuff to the point where I'm already running out of space to store these, but whatever. Where should I start? Okay, so this I got on Black Friday and it showed up late. It's the Nioh and Nioh 2 collection. I've never played either of these, but these are by Team Ninja. This is what I was thinking of, Team Ninja. These are Psycho games. I think they're 3D beat-em-ups, and they just looked absolutely nuts, so I had to get it. And if I was going to get both of them in the same, package, why not? So, and it was, like I said, more than half off. I think I paid $20 for that. You heard a loud thud? Yeah, because I put a big old stack here. You're going to love some of the games that I got for the PS5, Joel. Trust me, you are. Where else should I go? Okay, so at the beginning of the month, before I went to Rocket Sauce's place, the Callisto Protocol came out. And I was really excited for it. I was genuinely excited. So I ran out to get it at Best Buy on my lunch break at work. They were sold out. Everything that they had was behind the counter. It had been like ordered online and they were being held behind the counter. So I around the corner from that Best Buy is a GameStop. First time I've been in a GameStop in probably 2 years. Probably since I sold my Xbox One. My original Xbox One. I still have my Xbox One X. But when I sold that Xbox One, that's probably the last time I was there. And they had copies. So I bought it, brought it home, never opened it. And then I bought that on a Friday. And then Saturday I drove up to hang out with Rocket Sauce for the weekend. And he started talking about it. And he was saying, did you realize that the amount of DLC that's going to be available for this thing? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's already a bunch of DLC, add-on story packs. The game is basically unfinished. The game ends at a point that you could say it's like you got a game over, the story is done, but it really isn't. There's 3 DLC packs coming on top of DLC death animations and stuff. And I was like, God damn it. I always hate this kind of crap. I never know which goddamn game is going to have all of this add-on content come out after the game is released and which ones aren't. God of War, I put off buying God of War for the longest time because I assumed that it was going to have DLC. Turns out it didn't. I fucked up. That's why I bought God of War Ragnarok, because I knew it wasn't going to have any DLC. So I was like, I'm going to wait for the Callisto Protocol Complete Edition to come out in about a year or two or whatever it is. I don't care. I can wait. I don't need to play it first, right when it came out. I don't need to do that. So I took it back to the GameStop and I exchanged it for 3 games because it was a full price game. It was a $70 game. And I exchanged it for these 3. I exchanged it for Severed Steel, which is a third-person... It's a first-person shooter. But it's done like Tron, from what it looks like. It looks insane. And it was dirt cheap, so I had no problem swapping it out for this. It says, a unique fighter, stylish combat, dynamic AI. It's a first-person shooter. I don't know why it's saying a fighter. There's a gun in this camera. There's a fist in the camera. Yeah. So, got that. Also swapped it for this one called The Chant, which I think is a survival horror game. A spiritual nightmare. Yeah, it looked kind of cool and interesting, and it was dirt cheap also, so I swapped it out for this. The Chant. Haven't played it yet, obviously. And the one that I really wanted was because I think it was Mondane last month was talking about this in the stream. You got The Chant today? Nice. The Atari 50 Anniversary Collection. Or Anniversary Celebration. Last month I did one of my collection streams where I was talking about the Atari Jaguar, the one Atari Jaguar game that I have in my collection, and how I wanted to play it again, but I don't have a Jaguar because I don't want to pay $500 for a console. But turns out this has... I thought this was originally just another one of those, hey, here's all the Atari 2600 games made by Atari on one disc. Again, they've done that for every generation. Turns out, no, this is like a bunch of games from a bunch of different Atari consoles, including arcade. It's not all of them, it's just a handful of them. So you got arcade Atari games, you got Atari 2600 games, Atari 5200 games, 7800 games, Atari Lynx games, and Atari Jaguar games. And this has Tempest 2000 on it. So I was like, okay, you sold me. I was like, I need to have this. So I picked this up and I played through a bunch of Tempest 2000 on this, and I got a bunch of achievements. I did a couple of things I was never able to do back on when I was playing this game originally on the Jaguar back in the day, like the bonus stage where you're floating and you have to fly through those rings. I could never complete it because the controller for the Jaguar is kind of janky. I beat it on my first try. I got all the way through it and got an achievement for it. So that's great. So this has, I think, also some new versions of old games. I think there's a new version of Yar's Revenge on here or something. So I am super thrilled that I have this in my collection because now I can play Atari Lynx games, or at least the ones that are on this compilation, on my television. Fuck yeah, brah. Lynx and Jag games. There's a handful of each on this compilation, Joel. Get it. I think it's available on the PS4 also. And 5 more are unlockable. 103 games. And goddamn. And by the way, welcome, Retro Rewind. Yeah, I am super thrilled about it. I don't know if it tells... Yeah, it doesn't tell you on here. It says more than 100 playable games. I need to get glasses. Play rare and legendary games from 7 Atari platforms, including the Jaguar, Lynx, 2600, 5200, 7800, Atari 800, which is the computer, and arcade. Yes, absolutely need to get it. Glad that I have it. What should I talk about next? Okay, I picked this one up from Best Buy on Black Friday, and this is another one that took forever to show up for some reason, because it's another one of those Friday the 13th or Predator Hunting Ground or Evil Dead, the game type of like online co-op games that you can play with friends, but it's another licensed game. It's Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. This is like playing Friday the 13th, the game, but you're Ghostbusters. And it actually has a bunch of single-player stuff. Like the first chunk of the game, you have to play by yourself in order to unlock the multiplayer online stuff. And it's like the training stages. It's like you go, you get to run around the house, you get to talk to what is it? Not Venkman. Ray, you get to talk to Ray Stantz. You go to his occult shop, you talk to him for a while, and it's Dan Aykroyd voicing him. Turns out that Winston bought the Ghostbusters, the firehouse, and has reinstated it as a Ghostbusters headquarters, and he's your boss, so you talk to him all the time, and it is Ernie Hudson voicing him also. And you play through this one stage in a museum where you have to like save people and capture a ghost. It's really fun. I just need to get my friends together so we can play this multiplayer online, God damn it. That's why I bought it. I didn't want to pay full price for it, but it was discounted for about half off on Black Friday, and that's why I picked it up. Dang. Ghostbusters. You think Kenna's playing that Ghostbusters game? She might be. She might be doing something with the proton pack. Always love Ghostbusters games. Right back to the Commodore 64 ones. Yeah, the Ghostbusters game that came out on the 360 and the PS3 was pretty awesome. Oh, I'm glad you're... Okay, so like if you get a copy of it, we'll play that shit. Drink 9 times. Let's see. Also, bought a copy of this for the PS4, and like the moment it showed up in the mail from Amazon, Limited Run did the whole, we have a PS5 version coming out. I was like, God damn it. So I checked on Amazon, and sure enough, there was a PS5 version listed. It wasn't coming out until December. So I returned my PS4 copy so I can get the PS5 version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I know it probably doesn't make any difference if I got it for the PS4 or the PS5, but you know what? My PS5 is my new main console. I would rather just have the PS5 version. I was willing to wait. If it was as good as everyone was saying it was, it'd be okay to wait. I didn't need to play this like right off the bat when it first came out, so I'm good. I don't do digital stuff, so I had to wait anyway for a physical copy. And this is one of the games that I beat this month. I played through it like in one night, and I was like, holy shit, the hype is real. This is fantastic. It's like the natural progression of Turtles in Time, but it has a lot of modern day beat 'em up stuff going on in it too, with like collectibles and all that kind of shit. It is so good, and it's long. There's like 18 stages or 16 stages or something. I don't think it says on here. There's a lot of stages. It took a lot longer to beat this than I thought. I'm sitting there going, I'll have this beaten in 40 minutes, and it took like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And it's fantastic. I played through it as Donatello. I love his combos. I love the move sets. I love all the different things you can find to unlock. And like you beat the game, you unlock Casey Jones as a playable character. Hell to the yes. You get to start off playing as Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, April O'Neil, and Splinter. And you can unlock Casey Jones, which is what I did. Now I have to play through it as Casey Jones. The graphics are fantastic. The music is great. Although sometimes they're singing in the songs, and it's kind of cheesy, but I guess it kind of works if it's, geared toward kids. I mean, Nickelodeon Games did release it, so yeah. It's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And a friend of mine was like, does it have cross-play with other consoles? Because my buddy Noy, who is in the D&D campaign that I'm currently running, has this for the Xbox, and he's like, I want to play it with you. Can we play crossplay? I'm like, I don't know if it has crossplay, but if it did, we're totally going to do that. I hope it does. I hope. That would be rad. But fantastic game. The hype is real. I loved it, loved it, loved it. So many good collections coming out. Yep. Dude, play it, Joel. It is awesome. Dig Dug 2? No, I don't. Didn't it come with a coupon to get a free pizza? The NES game did, because there's Pizza Hut all over that damn thing. Does this have a coupon in it? It comes with an actual manual, which is awesome. How many games do we get nowadays that actually have a manual if it's not from Limited Run? And it comes with a bunch of stickers. Yay. Those will not be getting... Those will not be getting used. But love this game. I am super happy with it. I just need to play through it. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. I got to play through it a couple more. Got the hiccups. I need to play through it a couple more times. This is the other game that I beat this month, and this is like a special edition that I got through I Am 8-Bit. I think this has been available on the PS5 physically for at least a couple of months now. And I saw it discounted on Black Friday, so I was like, but I had pre-ordered it over the summer from I Am 8-Bit, and it finally showed up this month. Like, showed up like, what, Wednesday? No, Tuesday it showed up. And I had it beaten by Wednesday. And that is Stray. I remember when I saw the original like reveal of the PlayStation 5 when Sony did that stream or whatever where they showed you what the PS5 was going to look like, and everyone was like, ew. This was one of the games they showed, and I'm like, a game where you play as a cat, and an adorable looking cat at that? I need that in my life. It took forever for it to come out, but it finally did. But it was only digital at first. Finally got the physical. And it is a fantastic game. It's not that long. I want to say it's maybe 7 hours, really. If you don't do a lot of the side stuff, you could probably beat it in 5, but I did some of the side stuff. So what it is you're playing as this cat who is living outside this biodome with a bunch of other cats, like your little commune of kitties, and you get separated from them, and you end up inside this dome that's run by robots. And the robots have personalities and emotions and stuff, and it's weird. And you end up you meet this like little drone that has the personality of a human scientist trapped inside, and he attaches like this pouch to you that he can hide in. And he's able to communicate with you because he can speak cat and the robots, and he like translates for the two of you. And it's really, really fun. Like, you actually get to do cat things. Like, there's sections where it's like, do you want to scratch this carpet? And then you have to hit the left and right triggers and you'll start scratching the carpet. You can actually do it on couches too. One of the buttons makes you meow. If you find like a ball somewhere, you can actually start batting it around. It's really, really cute and adorable, on top of the story being really, really good. The story is actually kind of sad, and the ending is actually like kind of rad the way it works out. I absolutely love it. I was super thrilled that I got to play through it. I was kind of sad that it wasn't longer, but at the same time, like, I'm still trying to beat Ragnarok. So, this is distracting me enough as it is. You want to continue it? It's definitely well worth it. It is super fun. It's super, super adorbs. But the thing that was special edition about this was it came with a special, like a limited edition slipcover that is like metallic and reflective. The only thing is, if I were to have the game in it, you wouldn't know what the hell it is because it has nothing on the sides, on the spine. But that's kind of cool that it came with that. It also came with this poster that when they packaged this game to ship it to me, this was inside the game, inside the case. I can't get it back in the case now. I can't figure out why. Like, it won't shut if I have this in there, but it's like a painting of one of the environments from the game, which is kind of awesome. Yeah, I can fold this back up the way I need to fold it up. I'm probably just going to throw this into one of my little receptacles for video game tchotchkes. And it also came with a bunch of stuff inside, like a patch. One of the collectibles is certain characters will give you patches that attach to the little harness that you get in the game. And here's an actual real patch of the cat, and it's like metallic, like what is it, opalescent almost. It comes with a bunch of like postcard looking things. They're like shots of the game that are sealed. What else did it come with? A coupon for some premium cat food and 10% off Stray merchandise with this code. And it's like Q codes that you have to scan. So that's cool. Hey Joel, you want some cat food for your kitty? So that's awesome. I'm super glad that that came out physically. And then the last three that I have here are the ones that I bought because of Christmas discounts. And Joel's going to love every one of these. It's expensive on PS4, but not PS5. I have no idea. I am a sucker for slipcovers. I am. Even though I can't put it on. I'm going to do a video where everyone still has the free personal coupon. I think my copy of Turtles 2, the arcade game, had the coupon attached to the instruction book still. Big box PC games. So these are all RPGs. So Joel, I've watched Joel stream 2 of these, and I know he was interested in one of them. I don't know about the 4th one, but we'll start off with the earliest one. So I picked up the deluxe edition of Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. I've been wanting to play this for the longest time. I was watching Joel stream it at one point. It looked awesome, but I knew that there was like issues with the music or something. Or was it Dragon Warriors? Something going on with this. And needed to get fixed in like after the fact. So this comes with, what is it? A book, art book, and I think a soundtrack. So I had to get this. I love the Ys series. Ys 1, the original Ys, is one of my favorite games on the TurboGrafx CD. I have a bunch elsewhere in different consoles. I own a bunch for the PSP. I have one for the PS2 or something like that. Maybe the Xbox. I don't remember. But had to have this. Came out on the PS4 originally, but they did a PS5 version, so I got that like half off. PG RPGs. He nopes out. I've been watching Joel stream this one a lot recently too, before he switched over to Vampire Survivors, and that's Persona 5 Royal. Got this actually, I ordered this like last week through Best Buy. It was like a right before Christmas sale. And this was like $20 or something like that. So I was like, shit, yeah, give it to me. I owned this originally for the PS4, and then like the Royal version came out. Luckily, I never opened my version because I'd gotten Persona 5 at like a Black Friday sale at Target or something like that. And like a year went by and I never played it. And then the Royal one was announced and I was just like, get rid of it because I'm just going to get the complete edition. I should have just waited as it is. Luckily, I didn't pay a whole lot for the original version. But I never did buy that version. So now I got the complete one. Until you're 110 hours in, goddamn. So, love Persona. I love Shin Megami Tensei. I still need to get Shin Megami Tensei, what is it, 4 or 5 that came out on the Switch? This one, I know Joel talked about it in one of his videos. I don't know if you actually bought this or not, but I just got this. I ordered this yesterday. I ordered it yesterday or the day before. I might have ordered this on Wednesday, and it showed up today. These 2 games showed up today, and that is Valkyrie Elysium. I want to say this is a sequel to this is part of a series of games that Square Enix has done because I think I have one other game in the series. This isn't like the real-time strategy one. Yeah, there's 2 Valkyrie games with Valkyrie in the title. There's the ones by Sega and there's the ones by Square Enix, and I think I have one of them for the PSP. It's like it has like a subtitle that starts with an L. You know what? If only I had a device that tells me what games I own. Valkyrie Profile. Let's see. It's a PSP. Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. That's the one that I have. So I do have games in this series already. So I got this discount. This was $30. It just came out. It's $30. So I picked it up. I was like, I got something to say at the end of the stream today that's going to be pertaining to why I bought these. And then the last game that I have to talk about today, well, not the last thing I'm going to talk about, but the last game I have to talk about today, is the other one that showed up today, and that is Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I got this for, I think $25 on Best Buy's website. And I originally thought this was a remake of the original Final Fantasy game, like for a modern console. Turns out, no, it's like a side story or something. But I've been wanting to get this for the longest time, and I just never pulled the trigger on it because I didn't have a PS5 yet at that point when it came out, so I never did. But it looks kind of awesome, so I picked it up because it was cheap. Oh, and it's by Koei Tecmo, so it's Team Ninja. Oh, so it's a beat 'em up. Is this a Musou game? Is that Musou? Sorry, Musou. Yes. Is it a? Please tell me it's a Musou Final Fantasy game because I will get an erection on stream right now. But I got it anyway. 2020. I said this back in like 2019, at the end of 2019. In 2020, I was going to spend the entire year playing nothing but RPGs. I have all these RPGs in my collection that I'm not playing. I need to play some of them, knock them off my backlog, and that was going to be the year. Then COVID hit, and it just didn't happen. Plus, the one that I started to play kind of killed me on it because I started playing Kingdom Hearts, and I hated it. So I never continued with it. So 2023 is now going to be my year of RPGs. I'm going to play nothing but RPGs this year. Musou, like Dynasty Warriors. So, yes. But that's not the last game I have to talk about. Or the last thing I'm going to talk about. Because the other thing I'm going to talk about is the big thing that I bought with my bonus that I've been talking about getting from work. I'll be right back. Because I got to push something into camera. I picked up the Tron Arcade 1-Up. Let me get my chair out of here so I can... There we go. So people were wondering why my Mortal Kombat 2 Arcade 1-Up is now here instead of the big standee that I've had there forever. Well, that's because I bought this damn thing, and now this is where the Mortal Kombat 2 was in my living room. Shit, my chair just went flying across the room. So, the story behind that is Radiant Historia. Moose in slight pain. My chair has wings. Yeah, just basically, I gave it a nice little, touch, and it like slid across the floor so fast it almost like flew into one of my shelving units. So there's a YouTube channel that I watch called Killer Arcade Games. The guy that runs it, I don't remember what his name is, but he collects, he's kind of like Michael B. the Game Genie. He collects the arcade 1-Ups. He has a few actual arcade cabinets, but he like transformed his garage into like an arcade, but it's all arcade 1-Ups. And he does like occasional live streams where he plays the ones that he has. And he was playing Killer Instinct. I really, really want that Killer Instinct arcade 1-Up because I love that game, especially in the arcade. It was fantastic. I played that all the time. What is it? It has Killer Instinct 2, and the Battletoads arcade game, which never got a home port except on, was it the Rare Replay that came out for the Xbox One? All in one. And I'm like, I wanted that so bad. So he was streaming the Killer Instinct arcade 1-Up one night, and I was in his stream, and he's like, oh, the reason I'm streaming it is because I was trying to get attention for it because it's on sale right now. It's like, I think it was like a $500 arcade 1-Up, and it was on sale for like $200. And I was like, what? I just got my bonus. I was like, oh shit, I think now's the time I pull the trigger on this thing. So I go to the arcade 1-Up website, and with shipping and tax, it would have bumped it back up to about $400. And I was like, oh, no, no free shipping or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, let me check the Walmart website because Walmart is where I got this Mortal Kombat one. I'm like, they'll probably have it there. And I'll probably say, hey, they're selling it for $200 and they'll do like a price match thing. So I go to the Walmart website and they have every arcade 1-Up available except the Killer Instinct one for some reason. I'm like, what the hell? But they had the Tron one. And the Tron one was $200 off. It was on sale. It was $200 off. It came with the riser, which is like an extra $125 normally, and the stool for free. Like it comes in one pack. And I was like, oh, you guys knew that I was going to be looking for one of these things right now, didn't you? So I pulled the trigger because the cool thing about Walmart is they will ship to you, and shipping is free once you go past a certain money amount. So I got free shipping. All I had to do was pay tax on this thing. And it showed up, and it took almost an entire day to put together because that thing was insane because it has all light up. It has a light up marquee. It has a black light built into it. Different parts of it light up. The handle, the joystick lights up. It's insane. And then the stool that it comes with it, I had to put this thing together too, and it's even branded with Tron. So, yeah. My living room is a Tron shrine. I have Tron stuff everywhere. Tron posters on all the walls. Tron toys, movies, comic books, everything, video games. I have Tron stuff everywhere in there. And this is like the crown jewel of my Tron collection right now. I don't know. I really don't feel like doing videos on it. I did one about the Mortal Kombat one. It's really cool. Don't get me wrong. It is really cool. It's just kind of weird that I have just a specifically Tron arcade cabinet. Like my brother came over when we went and saw Avatar last weekend, and he was looking at it. He's like, "Is that the real arcade machine?" And I was like, "No, it's a reproduction." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "The real? If I wanted to get the real one, it probably cost me like $3,000." I was like, "This cost me like $400." He's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it's pretty awesome. It has Tron, the original arcade game of Tron, and Tron. What is it called? Discs of Tron, which was like originally like a sit-down cabinet where you were sitting inside of it, like it was like one of the gun games that you play in the arcade. But it has the roller that you would use for the arcade game, and the same exact joystick and the trigger, and the joystick lights up. It is really, really cool. Like I said, the whole thing lights up. It is fantastic. I love it. That was my big purchase this month. And if I didn't get that bonus, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But I've been wanting to. I was debating because I saw how expensive it was when it first came out. I was like, I am not paying like $700, was almost $800 for this damn thing, and it was like discounted heavily. So pretty titties. Brap brap. Make my fart slap. Yeah, it's vinyl, so like it makes funny sounds when I sit on it. But like I said, it's a branded Tron stool. Awesomeness. So yeah, I'm super happy about that. And that is the big purchase this month, like I said. And that is it. That's all the things I have added to my collection in December. That is a lot of stuff. I've been talking for almost 2 hours. Holy crap. The real Trog cabs are how to find an original shape. Yeah, most of them have back enclosure sawed off. Yeah. Six times. Guys are on crack, man. But yeah, I wasn't going to be able to afford an original Tron cabinet anyway, so like this is the next best thing. Just like with this, would I love to have an original Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet? Sure. It would also take up a huge amount of space, and it's heavy as hell. And yeah, and it's just one game. This has multiples on it, and so does the Tron one. So I'm super, super happy about it. Yep, all of this stuff. Like I said, it was 80% games and 20% movies this month. Like normally it's more movies than games, but it's been a cool month. That bonus helped out. So there you go. This is the last stream on my channel for 2022. 2022 is over tomorrow night. It's been a decent year. Got promoted twice. So that was good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy where I'm going to be starting next year at. So starting next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central, we'll begin the now rebranded Video Game Collection 2023 live streams because it's a new year. And that will be the second video in my Sony PlayStation collection. So I'll be back for that, followed by another short. I released a short this morning. If you guys didn't see it, it's all about strange franchise spinoffs available on the Wii. It was a really fun one to shoot. Trying to do that all in one take without any cuts. And with my way of slurring words and tripping over myself, that was a miracle. So it's already New Year's Eve there in the UK. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you guys are like what, 8 hours ahead of us. So I'll hopefully see most of you next week. That would be awesome. What else is going on? Also in January, the second episode of the RPG Tides of Flame that I'm running will be streaming on my Twitch channel. So go and subscribe to my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/the old ass retro gamer, all one word. The second part of the first episode will be streaming next month, I think mid-January. I don't remember the exact date that we scheduled it, but that's going down. That's going to be fun. The first episode was a lot of fun to do. Monday knows he was there. So I will talk to you all later. Have a great evening. Have a very safe New Year. Don't drink and drive, please. I'd like to see you all here next year, next week, actually. So I'll talk to you all later. Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out.